undoubtedly the second in the hierarchy of human needs apart from food. It's shelter. And it's very, very sadly, so many people in developing countries like Nigeria have not been able to secure one for themselves and their families. In today's edition of Politics and Leadership, we shall be looking at the way the government of Nigeria has over the years tried assiduously to ensure that its citizens in rural and urban areas have shelter over their heads. Good evening, my name is MC Liki Ugechuku Okafor. Welcoming you to today's edition of the program. All right, now I'm going to begin today's discussion um, by telling you a very, if you call it a bitter experience or sad story, you wouldn't be totally out of place, okay? Yeah. Last year I was in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria, and I visited the FMBN, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, all right? And I was trying to, find out, the requisites or the information that's needed for someone who wants to participate in, you know, the government scheme of owning a home. Okay, yes, because over there in Abuja there are several schemes that the government of Nigeria, has put in place for her citizens to benefit from. Okay, yes, and then the experience I had that day was that very, very palatable and pleasant because I was faced with a situation where I couldn't get the information that I needed, okay, to arm myself on, going about, you know, um, in my quest to get a personal home that I can call my own, okay? Yes. So today I want us to look at the issue of, you know, bureaucratic bottlenecks as it affects the informal sector because I went there on my own as a business owner, okay? Yes, not a civil servant to someone who works for a corporate organization, okay? Yes, because it is very, very important for us to be looking at this issue holistically because for the formal sector, people who are in the formal sector, people who work for the government, for structured industries and corporations, they have this scheme that is tailored to benefit them, okay, and they can easily walk into these mortgage banks and then the Federal Mortgage Bank to get a facility that will help them in owning their own homes. Okay, yes. Remember that there are various ways that one could go about getting an accommodation. It could be given to you, all right, by people who love you or the people you work for, all right. But for those who would have to, work very hard to earn their own, okay, yes. For those who are not so privileged to be, giving one or, by be a beneficiary of the schemes that the formal sector, avails. What should they do to ensure that they acquire their own homes? Because it's a very, very essential necessity for all and sundry. Okay? Yes. Over the years, we have said that people, litter the streets, of commercial centers and urban centers who do not have any accommodation at all. They end up sleeping under the bridge and causing menace and then truancy and all that. And government over the years have come up with policies on how to mitigate that sordid and ugly situation. Okay, taking and removing people from the streets. Okay, yes, that's why they have all these schemes. Okay, yes. So today, as someone who owns a small business or someone who is an artisan, how would you benefit from the very juicy and attractive policy of government that has to do with you owning your own home in Nigeria, not in any other country, in Nigeria, because in Abuja over there, I found that there is a scheme that you could benefit, everyone could benefit from. Okay, yes, but today I'm no longer in Abuja. I am here in Owerri. Okay, so and I have looked around to see if there is any establishment called the Federal Mortgage Bank in Owerri, and I have not seen one. Okay, so if really I am going to benefit from that federal government policy, as someone who works for myself, and someone who is just a beginner in the entrepreneurial sector, what should I do? What are the adversarial circumstances and setbacks that are there looking at me that would prevent me from achieving my dream? Okay, that's the crux of today's discussion. Okay, yes, and today the first on my list is that it is essential for government to disseminate information. Okay, to tell people how to go about getting or being a beneficiary of that very attractive policy of owning your own home. Okay, especially those of us who are not in Abuja. Okay, how can we access that facility? It's a very interesting thing they do over there in Abuja. Single digit loan, that wouldn't have to break your head over the years. You can pay, you can spread it for over 2 decades. Okay, over 20 years. It is tailored in such a way that if you take the facility, it won't kill you, other than what you have in commercial banks that before you would even say jack, they have come to kill you, because the interest rate is always very, very astronomically high. Okay, so yes, so for those of us who are here in Owerri, there's something that the government of Nigeria is doing that you could, own your own home seamlessly, it's designed for you to take up a facility by the government, financed by the government. Okay, yes, and you spread the loan for over 25 years. It's done in such a way that if the repayment won't kill you, in the process. It's something that's doable and achievable in our society here, but it's just that we do not know. Okay, and there's no branch of the Federal Monetary Bank in Owerri. Okay, that would help us here in Owerri to access the facility. So we're calling on government today. What would you do in order to assist Nigerians who are not in the Federal Capital Territory to own their own homes? Okay, it's important that we get to know about the policy in the first place, because I didn't have that information until I got to Abuja. Okay, yes. So most people in Owerri do not know that there is a policy like that could help them, achieve their dreams of being landlord, in their lifetime. Okay, yes, because there are people who don't, attain that status, but that's not going to be our portion. Okay, we all pray and hope that we'll achieve that in our lifetime. Okay, so sensitization. Tell us, government, how are we going to assess the facility if it's possible for those who are not in Abuja? That privilege. Okay, we are all Nigerians. All right, then the bureaucratic bottlenecks that I told you about. If you come there and you're not a politician or directed from one captain of industry or one hierarchy individual, not very, welcomed. Okay, yes, because I know the experience that I had that day. Please, those who work in such establishments, civil servants or public servants, whatever you are called, please, when people come to you for essential information such as that, government money is not an individual's money. Okay, so I wouldn't know why you would treat people differently. Okay, special treatment for this kind of person, treatment for this kind of, it's not healthy. Okay, yes. You don't, you see people who, are even angry that you have come to ask them questions concerning things that are not their personal property or personal, things. They are just placed there to administer such things. But the way they go about the administration is, something that's very, very not pleasing. Okay. Yes. So we are calling on you, those who work in such establishments, to, be people who wouldn't be partial in your dealings. Okay? Yes. Yes. So the second issue is the access to finance. But I've said it. It's something that the government pays for. Okay? Yes. Over the years, they work with commercial banks. Okay. Um, Here is a situation where the commercial bank would, provide the money, but the federal government will, over the years, partner with the beneficiaries to make sure that they repay the loan. Okay, it's done in such a way that the interest rate is very, very low. All right, and then it's tailored to last for a long time, because that's what kills many people, that take up such facilities. If you cannot do it in such a way that you'll be able to pay it and still be alive, there are some things that you will do and you won't be alive to enjoy it. So that's it. All right. So moving on. Decentralization, like that's the second fact, the next factor. It's only those who are in the Federal Capital Territory who know about these things and who benefit from these things. All except few people who are high-ranking civil servants in this country. Okay, those of us who are not civil servants, who are private owners, private business men and women, we are still Nigerians, and we're asking the federal government to, develop a kind of policy that will be favorable to us, that can help us, participate, in these schemes that other people, others, benefit from over there in the capital city. Okay, all right. Now you would say that it's very, very risky for people who are not in the formal sector to repair the facility if it's eventually given to them. But it has to do with effective management, of the system. Okay, because everything has to do with system collapse. Every issue that has gone awry in this country, has to do, with inefficiency of the system. If we could have, people who would effectively man the system, forget it. Everything would go as it ought to go. All right. So the people in the informal sector, like those of us who do small businesses, okay, like the artisans, government should please look in the direction of these people and develop a policy that could help them, benefit from the housing schemes that the country, offers to its citizens. Okay, this is where we'll be drawing the curtain today. I still remain your brother and friend, MC Liki Liki Ugochukwu. For him saying bye for now.